No, 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 no.
The Spider-Man Far From Home trailer is about play, but if you haven't seen Avengers Endgame yet, stop watching because there's some serious spoilers about to come up. But if you have seen Avengers Endgame, enjoy the trailer.
Well, maybe there'll be a trailer. You will see that trailer in the video prior to this, where I did my review on what I thought of the new Spider-Man Far From Home coming trailer. It's coming out soon, guys. So yeah, apparently they're not ending the MCU on the Endgame. They're ending it on. I say not ending the MCU, but I mean they're ending the big chapter that they have for the last 10 years. They're going to be ending it on the Spider-Man instead of the Spider-Man Far From Home, instead of the Endgame itself. I mean, the Endgame was the bookend for the Avengers, but I think they're tying up the end of the story and bringing in the next part of the story for the MCU and all the different heroes, because yeah, they're all back now. So all the ones that got decimated, they're all back now, and they're all fighting ready. Apart from obviously the ones that with the old pussy that went back in time and never came back, Mr. Captain America, and then you've got Mr. Iron Man that did the greatest thing that he had ever done. I mean, he was, as many have been hearing so many things about it, but he did so many. Well, he kicked off the franchise, guys. You can't say anything bit different. That the guy that Happy, he was in the Spider-Man films, really, really good because he is the one, Happy the dude, that in the films, in Iron Man, Spider-Man, and all the others he's been in. He was the one actually made the script and directed the first Iron Man film. So yeah, he's definitely got what it takes. So I'm glad he's in with the new Spider-Man Homecoming trailers and stuff like that. I give my full some of my what I thought of it in the actual video yesterday, guys. So go and check that one out because today we're going to be doing this isn't Far From Home. This is from the actual scene where Peter Parker, Spider-Man, comes back from the snap and comes through the sling ring. If you guys have not seen it, again, spoilers for Endgame, but where the hell have you been? Go and watch it. This is a scene from that when he comes back and he's like, "Well, Mr. Stark, we're back. This happened. We were in the thing, and then the dude with the sling did a sparkly thing, and then it's coming back." All those scenes are in a lot of those scenes are in previous videos last week on the Iron Man. If you want to go and see some of those, definitely go and check those videos out and see those. Loads of breakdowns. Most videos that I do, I have got a breakdown, or they've got drawing, and something that I'm drawing has a story or an audiobook or something like that. If you've got any audiobooks, guys, and you want me to create a character from that audiobook, definitely let me know. I'll get that audiobook and I'll listen to it whilst I'm drawing, and it'll give me a little bit of inspiration. But yeah, I'm always happy for something other than just a superhero. As you all know, I don't just do superheroes. I'm a lot. I do Christmassy things, obviously. And then we've got this is all from just the beginning of the year. This creation character of people that wanted to I put out a poll on Instagram. People said a bird. I think, what is it? Is he a parrot? He's a monkey, and he's a turtle. So yeah. And then we've got that one there. That one's what is that one? That's X-Men. That was from the MCU. That's possibly going to be coming into the thing. And then I've done a thing. This was kind of Mermaid before I actually got around to doing Mermaid. Again, I put out a poll to say, what do you want 3 characters to be made of? That was in the themed month. So go and check for that one in the playlist. Again, with this one, I digitized all this one, but yeah, then we get on to Spider-Man, which I had to go start to do faces because I'm not very good at them. So I thought I'd have a go and do a half and half of a Spider-Man and a Peter Parker. And then I did a half and half of, again, I'm going back on the superheroes. I kind of like superheroes. And then we go on to the Venom. I've definitely go check that one out because that one has been digitized and that looks a whole lot better in the digitized version. And yeah, we got that one as well. That's the same. We're still on the same theme. Wanted to do half and half, and I thought half and half. But if you know about the MCU, guys, he's become one person. Should we call him one Hulk? So Banner's brain, Hulk's body. And then we got Alita Battle Angel. Not too keen on that one. That's only because of the eyes, but I tried to get the eyes as close to things as that. That's not actually not too far off the picture I was trying to create it from. And then we've got this one here, which is one of my favorites, which is Lost in Space. If you've seen the Netflix series, that's from there. And then I had a challenge from one of the dudes on Instagram. His name was Robbie Toon, or Rob Toon, something like that. He's definitely on my Instagram, guys. Go and check that one out. Again, my name's Blut084, BLUT084, Art and Games. And that's my character there. If you guys don't know who it is, it's Blue Angel or Blue Angel. I'm not really decided on the name. Let me know which one you like the most. And then we move on to, again, with superheroes, but it's more of a demonic thing. I wanted to do a, what was it called? Hellboy. I haven't actually watched that film yet, Hellboy, so I definitely want to go check that one out. And Shazam, yeah, I definitely saw that one. A real good go at trying doing this Shazam. Again, it's from the film. It's all pop culture at the moment. And then we go into Easter time where we did a dragon, which was coming out of the egg. If you didn't check that one out, guys, again, I haven't digitized that one. I'm thinking maybe doing the digitizing week next week. I'm just digitizing things that I haven't digitized yet. But that one's one of my favorites and definitely worth checking out if you want to learn how to draw a dragon and stuff like that. Again, I get put on another poll and ask what you want coming out of the egg, and they said a snake or a slug snake, and I'm like, okay, slug snake it is then. And then we got Trico, which I'm playing the game of at the moment. One of my favorite games. Very, very, very relaxing, but also frustrating at the same time. Oh, hiccups. And then we get into last week's spoilers. Iron Man. Again, I created this from scratch, did it all with pencil, and then went to pencil on Monday, then inked on the Tuesday, which is what I'm doing today. We're running a bit late. Inked that Tuesday, and Wednesday, we coloured that one in, got all the colours that you can see here. We used Copic markers, as you can see in the corner here, which is what I'm going to be doing today. I'm going to be colouring in, but I'm going to be using my Copic markers to give it a little bit more of a darker shade, because I wanted light to be coming down off the gauntlet itself. I couldn't really get the effect that I wanted here, but I did on the digital version. So if you haven't checked that one out, guys, definitely go and check that one out, either on my Instagram, or if you want to watch the video to how I did it, definitely up in the playlists. And then we get on to today. That would be my mouse. And that's and then we get on with today's, which is Spider-Man. But it's instant kill mode. If you haven't seen the film yet, guys, if you haven't seen Homecoming, you'll know about instant kill mode. He doesn't use it, but in Endgame, he very much does use the he very much uses the instant kill mode in very vicious fashion. He's getting the gauntlet and taking it to purpose place. Unfortunately, things happen, and he doesn't quite get to where he needs to be because Thanos invades the space that he's standing in. But go and watch the film, guys, because I can't tell you too much, because obviously you might not have seen it yet. But if you're watching this video, I would have thought you had. So yeah, let me know what you think of this picture here. I'm Blut084, BLUT084, Art and Games. So we'll listen to some more of this. Sorry, we'll listen to more of the breakdown of the Far From Home trailer. That is from, well, they'll give an introduction who they are in a moment. But yeah, if you want to find out where I get all my information and where and what I listen to, definitely keep watching, guys. Don't forget to hit subscribe and ask for it down below in the comment section. If you're watching live, you can say hi in the chat. If you're watching back, don't forget to scroll all the way to the bottom. And if you want to find out what else I get up to, don't forget to check up in the playlists. Or wait to the end if you're watching back. Say hi in the chat. I'll redact that because it doesn't actually say hi in the chat, it says something else. My bloody mouse, it will not remove. There we go. I'm going to say hi in the chat. If you want to say hi in the chat, feel free to. Otherwise, I'm going to get colouring in, I'm going to get drawing, and go. So that's it, going. I'll be using my Copic marker brush pens. I'll be using my Sharpie pen. I'll be using my Fine Line 7.0 which I can never find the actual number for it, but I know it's a 7.0 because I've looked at it and went, oh, that's 7.0. 7.0. It does say it somewhere. It says it bloody does say it somewhere, unless I've rubbed it off in my hand. Anyway, 7.0. That's what that is. Yeah, so I'm going to get on, listen to some more trailer breakdowns. If you haven't seen either Endgame, or if you haven't seen Spider-Man Far From Home trailer itself, I'm going to be listening to that breakdown of that in a moment while I carry on inking this out. This is the main idea that I'm going to be going with. This here is the inking process. I did a little bit yesterday just to show you what I'm going to be trying to achieve today. I'll be moving on to this one in a moment, and after I've done that one, I'll be moving on to the big picture and getting that one finished. Again, with my felt, not my felt tips, with my, I might use felt tips, you never know. 7.0, sorry, and my Sharpie for darker, thicker lines. But I also use my brush pens, but I'll be using them as I go along. These brush pens are really good, but unfortunately, my black fine line has actually frayed, so I can't use that anymore. It's got some ink in there, so it's good for shading, but that's about all it's good for. And I've got I might be able to use this blue here for a darker tone when I go down to the underneath parts where I'm going to be use darker tones anyway. So I might do that. But Sharpie, and where's my felt tip? Right, here we go. These are also really good because I got double-ended. Let's get my black pen because that's what I'm going to be using the most at the moment. And we've got this end here is again, this is feathering because I've used it so much. It's a pain in the ass when they feather. I need to get some more really badly. If you know of any Copic marker websites, let me know. I'll get some from there. Again, it's just like a felt tip, but it's really good for fine lines and getting thicker lines, but not too thick. Because I'm thick. Haha. Let's get drawing, let's get colouring as well, and get this finished. I'm going to turn the light on so you can see a little bit better, and then I'm going to get that breakdown going. Let me know what you think of this picture. Let me know if you've seen Far From Home. And we'll begin.
Everywhere I go, I see his face. Sure, I miss him.
Yeah, I miss him too. I don't think Tony would have done what he did if he didn't know that you were going to be here after he was gone.
You gonna be the next Iron Man now?
Well, no, I don't have time. I'm too busy doing your job. Oh. I'm kidding. Look, keep up the good work because I am going on vacation.
Heads up, Nick Fury's calling you.
I don't really want to talk to Nick Fury.
Because if you don't talk to him, then I have to talk. I don't want to talk to him. You sent Nick Fury to voice me?
No, you do not trust Nick Fury. That works. What's up? We're just talking about the trip. I'm here in St. Marco Polo. Oh, I think MJ really likes me. Probably when I first fell along.
You're a very difficult person to contact, Spider-Man. This is Mr. Beck.
You could use someone like you on my world.
Your world, Beck, is from Earth, just not ours. The snapshot hole in our dimension.
You're saying there's a multiverse?
We got a job to do.
Nice!
You're coming with us.
There's got to be someone else you can use. What about Thor?
Off-world.
Captain Marvel, unavailable. But who's the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man?
Bitch, please, you've been to space.
What do you want, Peter? I want to go back on my trip with the girl who I really like and tell her how I feel. MJ, I
am Spider-Man.
No, of course not.
I mean, it's kind of obvious.
You're right, you may not be ready, but this is my responsibility. Saving the world requires sacrifice. Sometimes people die.
Star Wars still have to put my friends in danger. The world needs the next Iron Man.
You're going to step up or not?
I can't wait till it's out. I can't wait till it's out. Cause I need more Spider-Man. Cause I am a bloody huge nerd. No, I like Spider-Man like big style.
Brand new Spider-Man Far From Home trailer to break down, and obviously they gave you a big spoiler warning at the beginning of that. If you haven't seen Avengers Endgame, big spoilers because they talk all about Iron Man and what's going on during it. So obviously they tease a lot of big stuff during this. They try to say Mysterio is from the multiverse. I'm from another Earth. The snap tore a hole.
Now that I don't
in our
know
dimension,
if he's actually
allowing
from,
these
because he's a
all these
trickster.
Elementals, quote unquote, to break through. So we got a whole bunch of Easter eggs to break down here. Yes, I do think that Mysterio is pulling a fast one on Nick Fury, trying to make everyone think that he's from another Earth. But I will talk about some of the possibilities that Sony is trying to spin in the background here, because they definitely want Tom Holland's Spider-Man in their Venom and other Spider-Verse movies that they're making. So I would not be surprised if they are trying to build multiverse out of this, so that someday they could eventually build to a live-action Spider-Verse movie like we saw the animated Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. But if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the Marvel videos. We do Easter eggs every week. Obviously, it's only going to get crazier as we get ready for Spider-Man Far From Home. We have Comic-Con coming up this summer, and we're going to get the official Marvel Phase 4 movie schedule after Spider-Man Far From Home hits theaters. We'll do a new round of the Infinity Gauntlet giveaway, too. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and leave a Spider-Man comment on the video. But you open the trailer with Spider-Man in the Iron Spider suit after the events of Avengers Endgame, patrolling New York City, just doing his normal friendly neighborhood Spider-Man thing. Last year, Amy Pascal said that the movie picks up minutes after the end of Avengers Endgame, but I actually now think that she's talking about the Avengers Endgame sort of end credit scene where Spider-Man meets Ned Leeds post-snap. Like, everyone is back. Oh my god, I can't believe it. What happened? They're trying to deal with it. Kevin Feige and the Russos also confirmed the timeline. So, like, all of his classmates here, this is 2023. It's 5 years later. Some of his classmates from Spider-Man Homecoming did not get snapped. They're now 5 years older. They're probably in college. They've gone on to have jobs. But even though they don't address that during the trailer, there'll probably be a minute at the beginning of the film where they have somebody reference that, because you do see them in class talking about their trip that they're getting ready to go on. So obviously they're going to have a couple scenes with them at school. But because the end of Endgame takes place in the spring, maybe there's just like a quick montage that takes place that pushes them into the beginning of summer. Like it's the last couple of weeks of school at the end of Avengers Endgame. Because they'll all go back, they meet each other. It's probably just a little time jump before you see them all board the plane and head to Venice. You see him talking to Happy about missing Iron Man, literally and figuratively, seeing his face everywhere. His eyes are all red, so it looks like he definitely needs a vacation. He's probably been pulling double time since he came back just to make up for lost time, because he didn't really know what had happened when he first came back from the snap. Doctor Strange explained it to him, but there's this whole thread in the trailer about him being Iron Man's replacement now. Like the cops tell him, wait, you're going to be both Iron Man and Spider-Man now because he's wearing the Iron Spider suit? Even Nick Fury tells him he's going to step up. Happy says, I don't think that Iron Man would have done what he did if he didn't think you'd be around to pick up the slack when he's gone. So a lot of the early part of the movie is just him dealing with everyone's expectations for him, because even though it's been 5 years, and technically they're 5 years older, he's still 16, 17 years old, so he still feels like a high school kid. So he's still trying to reconcile all these big things that are going on, while also still being a high school kid trying to deal with high school problems. Like, I'm just trying to tell the girl that I like her. During the scene with the cops, one of them is named Bristow. That's actually a character from the New Mutants comic books, which is an X-Men title. He became obsessed with Kitty Pryde's dance teacher. He didn't have powers, and he wasn't a mutant. But I know a lot of you are wondering how they're going to start invoking X-Men, Fantastic Four stuff. I'm not expecting any big X-Men characters or anything like that to pop up during this movie. But don't be surprised if you start seeing little Easter eggs and references in people's names and street signs and license plates. Like, there are a lot of license plate Easter eggs for Sinister Six characters when they're fighting the big quote-unquote elemental creatures during this trailer. They have the funny joke about nobody wanting to talk to Nick Fury. Happy's like, I'm not talking to him. Wait a minute, did you just send him to voicemail? You can't do that. Spider-Man trying to duck out so that he can go have fun with his friends. The poster behind Happy, Crusher versus Hogan, is an Easter egg for Crusher Creel, which is the person that Matt Murdock's father fought in the ring during Daredevil. That's also from the Daredevil comics as well. I know Crusher Creel was on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but they're kind of doing something different with that character. The comic book Crusher Creel did fight Matt Murdock's father. We get extended versions of some of the scenes that we saw from the last trailer with them just smiling at each other. Peter being positive that MJ likes him a little bit, while Flash Thompson's getting hit in the nuts elsewhere, being a douchey tourist. There's a funny line from Ned Leeds about remembering the first time he fell in love, because apparently during the course of the movie, he's going out with Betty Brant, which is a bit of a comic book Easter egg, because adult comic book Betty Brant was with adult Ned Leeds when it was found out that he was the Hobgoblin, which was part of that whole saga, even though I don't expect this version of Ned Leeds to ever become a version of Hobgoblin. There's a little bit of new dialogue from Nick Fury. You're a hard man to get a hold of, Spider-Man. He takes him to the Venice canals to what we now know is a secret S.H.I.E.L.D. base with Maria Hill, and introduces him to the Quentin Beck Mysterio, who apparently says that he's from an alternate Earth. We could really use someone like you on my Earth. Wait a minute, there's a multiverse, and Spider-Man's brain sort of exploding as he tries to take it all in, and he's buying it hook, line, and sinker. So here's where we get to the Mysterio plot of it all. Obviously, we've heard what they've said about the character before this. Like they said, oh, Mysterio is going to be a hero during this movie. But the new stuff is all this multiverse explainer they're trying to throw at us.
I think my pen's running out, guys.
Snap tore a hole in our dimension, allowing all these elemental creatures and Mysterio to come through. So he's chased them to our Earth to help us clean this up. My guess is that Nick Fury doesn't totally believe him, and that's why he's got Spider-Man double timing, trying to find out what's really going on, follow him around. But when he first pulls Spider-Man in for duty here, it seems like he totally buys it, but then Spider-Man, through the course of the film, will probably figure out what Mysterio is really doing. They have the funny moment where he's like, I'm on vacation. Isn't there somebody else you could get? What about Thor? He's off-world. What about Captain Marvel, that new hero that I gave the Infinity Gauntlet to at the end of Avengers Endgame? She's unavailable too. Obviously, Nick Fury uses the word dimension, which will remind you of Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions, which was inspiration for comic book Spider-Verse, which then inspired the Spider-Verse movies. There are a lot of people that think that even though Mysterio might be lying about being from the multiverse and just using that as cover to try to explain why he's trying to make himself look like a hero, and really these are other Sinister Six characters like Molten Man, Hydro Man, Sandman, that long-term, Sony's plan is to build a Spider-Verse in the movies, do live-action stuff, and as a way to explain how they can put Tom Holland's Spider-Man in one of their Venomverse movies. It would definitely be an easy backdoor, even though I still think that this version of Mysterio is lying like comic book Mysterio was, because Kevin Feige's MCU movies tend to be pretty faithful with character origins, even though a lot of times they'll change comic book storylines a little bit. This just seems like they're using the events of Avengers Infinity War,
I'm gonna test this
Avengers
pen, see
Endgame,
why
and
it's
Iron
not
Man's death,
doing what
the
it's meant to.
original Mysterio origin story from the comics.
Sometimes it does, and sometimes it don't, so I don't know what's going on.
Look like a hero by throwing Spider-Man under the bus. Only in this case, he's just saying that the snap tore a hole in the dimension. There's all these elemental creatures, and that's what his plan is. And the new thing that they've said about his character, because you see that scene of them talking to each other, commiserating while he's wearing his new stealth suit, and Mysterio's got some of his armor taken off, is the producers, the writers called Iron Man, sort of like the cool dad to Spider-Man, and now they're calling Mysterio the cool uncle to Spider-Man as a mentor type figure. Obviously, though, he's a comic book villain, so there's a very quote-unquote sinister bent to this to make as many Spider-Man puns as possible. There's a scene of MJ watching Molten Man forming. Nearby, Spider-Man swings in wearing his black stealth suit. This might be part of the Prague bite, because then we see all this carnival stuff going on in the background. Mysterio flies in, tries to help him. You see Spider-Man try to run away and jump over this giant explosion as the Molten Man creature starts to chase after him. There's a scene of Mysterio in broad daylight flying past the Shard, which also doubles as one of Nick Fury's bases, apparently. This is in London, so Mysterio's tech seems pretty advanced. That's pretty accurate to the comics. Quentin Beck in the comics was a special effects wizard in Hollywood, so he used a lot of mechanical creations to fight against Spider-Man or just make himself look like more of a hero. Like, one of the first times Spider-Man fought Mysterio, Mysterio created a bunch of fake X-Men using robots, making Spider-Man fight them. More footage from the Mysterio Hydro Man fight while Mysterio's talking to Spider-Man in that bar in Venice in a separate scene. What do you want in life, Spider-Man? I want to tell the girl that I like her. Then they have the funny scene of Peter maybe trying to tell her that he likes her, how he feels about her, but her swerving on him, coming right out saying he's Spider-Man. Oh, it's pretty obvious that you're Spider-Man. I'm actually happy that they're doing it this way, because they're trying to set up the MJ character in this movie as a really smart person. Of course, she would probably figure out that Peter is Spider-Man, because at this point in his career, as badass as he is, he's totally bad at the cloak and dagger secret-keeping aspect of everything. There's a much larger version of Molten Man and a way longer version of the bridge fight scene at the Tower Bridge of London from the last big trailer. Mysterio flying into action while Spider-Man's tour group runs to safety. The scene that happens right after this is probably the funny, happy scene that they tack at the end. Okay, we all have to get on the jet. Everybody, big plan. I work with Spider-Man. Flash Thompson freaking out. Wait a minute, you work for Spider-Man? And he's filming it on his camera to post on social media, and Happy just trying to explain to him what his relationship with Spider-Man is. More footage of Mysterio explaining how serious the mission is, how this is his responsibility to see to the end, talking about saving the world, how it requires sacrifice, riffing on Iron Man's legacy, saving the universe with the Infinity Gauntlet, the Avengers during Endgame. Sometimes people die. Maybe this is actually when Spider-Man opens up to him about his grief at losing Iron Man, worrying about putting his friends in danger because of his secret identity. Like I said, before Spider-Man probably figures out that Mysterio has been lying to him this whole time, he's sort of the cool uncle, mentor type person to Spider-Man.
Somebody he needs right at the end. He's lost his quote unquote father figure.
During Infinity War, and then again during Avengers Endgame, they were made out of nanotech during that. I don't know if this is a separate dedicated pair or if it's also nanotech like the ones that Iron Man used. But you see him in the back of Iron Man's jet from earlier in the trailer with that special new gauntlet tech on, and it looks like something that Iron Man made for him. Maybe that has something to do with the new versions of his spider suits that he wears during the trailer, like the black stealth suit and then the newer black and red.
All right.
Devastation from
the main outlines.
Nick Fury, Maria Hill involved
in a bit more with the inside
the
lines.
Iron Man, and they're sort of trying to juxtapose.
It does take a while, guys. So just
Mysterio is doing and all the
if
stuff
you want to watch it
Iron
and you want to
Man
see
is
how I
doing,
finish it,
Iron Man's face
and that's
all
what you're
over
here
the
for,
place. Like,
don't
he
forget
looks
to
fly
fast forward or
Iron Man with
just come back
the
again and fast forward to the end.
It also
But
reminds me of a funny scene
yeah,
from the last
inking
trailer.
needs to happen, and that's what I'm doing right now. I'm just going around everything I've penciled. I'm just going to pause while there because I actually like listening to what you're saying. Pause that a second. So yeah, I'm going to go around everything with my ink pen. I will be adding a little bit of color to this as well. Pencil and then ink it. Not sure, but I'll be. If it's not finished today, it'll be finished tomorrow. Like I was saying, guys, I've gone around with the darker areas, or the lower darker areas, where it's going to be real thick and it's got to be sort of super dark. I'll be using darker colors as well as lighter colors as well. So don't forget if you want to see how I do that, keep watching. But I'm going around everything that I've already drawn in pencil with either my, at the beginning I said my ball pen or my Sharpie pen. Thicker lines for lower end for more shadow, and then obviously just an outline because I will probably get rid of all the construction lines that you're seeing here. But if, yeah, guys, keep watching and keep listening.
And it's like, oh, wow, this Mysterio guy, he can pick up the mantle and take all this responsibility, so I won't have to worry about it that much. I can just still be friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. But as we're all probably expecting, maybe there's a big Mysterio swerve during all this. He's lying about it. Spider-Man will have to take him down and end up stepping up the way that Happy's telling him, and Nick Fury. Like, Nick Fury literally tells him during the trailer, it's time for you to step up. So everybody, let me know in the comments, do you think that Mysterio is lying about being from an alternate Earth and using the snap and the multiverse and Avengers Endgame?
I don't think he's lying as such.
With these elemental creatures that
It could happen,
might be Sinister Six characters because
but I think the technology's there. He just doesn't know how to use it, and he's trying to use S.H.I.E.L.D. to get his way in there so he can start using that as his tech. That's what I think.
There are more Avengers Endgame, Marvel Phase 4, and Spider-Man videos that I have planned for later this week, but leave all your questions in the comments below, and I'll try to address those during those videos. I'll name a new giveaway winner when I post new Marvel, but my next video will be that Game of Thrones Season 8, Episode 5 trailer video, so look out for that later today.
Yeah. Does anybody want me to do a Game of Thrones video?
Endgame Easter eggs video, and click here for my Game
I
of
don't
Thrones
really watch it, so it would be something new for me to do.
Everybody stay awesome. I'll see you guys tonight.
Not for any reason. I just missed too many. I missed too many episodes, and it's catching up on it now. It's like, yeah, you're never gonna do it. I'll just use a felt tip
I'm
there.
Simon Cowell, and you know.
Oh, do I? No, don't. Go away. Right, I'm gonna have to flip over, guys. Give me a second.
How a small extra repayment each month adds up to paying them.
What do you think?
I was shocked.
What do you think?
That would be like me setting up a talent show.
Just gonna get rid of that advert a minute. I've got to flick over screens.
Ice-covered landmass.
Yada yada yada, go away, Simon Cowell. No one cares about you.
Yes, it's the end of an era for us Marvel fans as
Okay,
we
we're
get
gonna have
ready to
spoilers
wrap
now.
up the third phase of MCU films. There's no denying that Avengers Endgame was a momentous movie moment we had been spending over a decade waiting for. We all have our own opinions on the movie and the long road which led to it, but now we're going to hear from the people who we have to thank for making our favorite Marvel movie so great, the stars.
Go back.
Before he was cast as Tony Stark in the 2008 movie Iron
Yeah, we did Iron Man last week, guys. If you want to find out some more about that one, I'm going to find another breakdown or a little bit more of what's going on in the MCU. Well, I can't find anything. Actually, oh, here we go. We'll listen to Kevin Smith and his breakdown, shall we, guys? We had Kevin Smith last time in Iron Man. We'll have Kevin Smith again. Be aware they're possibly swearing.
Attention, all you babbleheads in England, Scotland, Ireland.
That's gonna
Hollywood
fast forward,
Babylon is coming to you. Yes, it's been years. Seesmod.com, SEESMOD.
Like, just as we're all, post Endgame.
I'm going to leave it there.
We want to see you
Right,
next
while
May
it's
when
doing,
we
I'm going to
head
change over the
England,
screen.
Scotland, and Ireland.
It'll stop in a minute.
See
It's
you there.
advertising their thing. I can't really advertise it. It's not my advert. Batman on Batman.
Spider-Man Far From Home is coming. Just as we're all, post Endgame orgasmic. Now suddenly we're gonna check in on the Marvel Cinematic Universe in a spoilers post Stark world. Okay, the trailer for Spider-Man Far From Home. This is the second trailer. Features more Mysterio, I'm told, and features some stuff that will tie directly into the events of Infinity War. So, not Infinity War, Endgame. Infinity War and Endgame. So, without further ado, let's dive in. Once again, Tom Holland, my favorite cinematic Spider-Man. He just gets it, man. The man is. I love the fact that he did a Queen's accent. Makes sense. How come nobody ever did a New York accent? Peter Parker before. So smart. Love his dynamic, of course, that he had with Robert Downey Jr. I love the Spider-Man Stark dynamic, the father-son mentor kind of thing. And so we're about to see what happens when Spider-Man don't have his mentor no more. When Peter Parker don't get to hang out with Peter Starker. The events of Endgame, I was wondering, are they going to have an effect? We do a podcast called Fat Man Beyond, me and Mark Bernardin. And Mark Bernardin was saying, like, maybe this takes place before Endgame. And I was like, I hope not. I guess want to move forward. I'm happy to do flashbacks and if you want to jump through time and stuff, but do a whole story post-snap and post-re-snap or T-snap. It'd be strange. Forward momentum, ever forward. So I hope this trailer is set post-snap. I love Mark Bernardin, and usually I love when he improves a movie, but I hope he's not right about that. We're going to find out together. Fuck all this chatter. Let's dive in, man. Now, mind you, we've seen what Mysterio looks like in the first trailer, so I'm not going to have the same sense of, but maybe there's new footage in this trailer. Maybe we get to learn a bit more about Mysterio's mission. Let us watch, shall we? I've got it started right where the trailer begins. There was a Tom Holland intro thing, and then I stopped it right after that. So this is just when the trailer begins. Line it up. Here we go.
Everywhere I go.
He's still in the suit. Ooh. Oh, he's sad. He's sad about Tony.
I think Tony.
He's got cry eyes.
If he didn't know that you were going to be here after he was gone.
Depends being a pain in the ass.
I love the Iron Spider suit, and they keep using the legs.
Well, no, I don't have time. I'm too busy doing your job. Oh, hey, I'm kidding. Look, keep up the good work because I am going on vacation.
Wow, it directly ties in with the Iron Spider suit. And I love that Fabs is a big part, man.
Because if you don't talk
Started all this.
I don't want to talk to him.
Yeah, it did.
You sent Nick Fury to voicemail? I gotta go. You do not ghost Nick Fury.
Yeah.
What's up? We're just talking about the trip. I'm here in St. Marco Polo. Oh, I think MJ really likes me. Probably when I first fell in love.
I've seen this.
You're a very difficult person to contact, Spider-Man.
Ah, I've seen that too, but still, now it makes sense.
This is Mr. Bank.
I use someone like you on my world.
Your world's big is from Earth, just not ours. The snap to our hole in our dimension.
Oh, shit.
I was
just about to say multiverse. Maria Hill. Holy shit. Did you see them shaking hands?
Off-world.
Unavailable. Who's the friend of Spider-Man?
Black suit.
Bitch, please. You've been to space.
They say bitch in these trucks. Fucking Mysterio. Look at that shit. They're hanging out and talking. They can't be friends.
All right, I'm Spider-Man. No, of course not. I mean, it's kind of obvious.
You're right. You may not be ready, but this is my responsibility.
Oh, fucking bubble helmet. God damn it, that looks amazing.
God, it's Kevin Smith. I don't even need to watch it. I just listen to his experience of it. Wow! Spider-Man.
More Mysterio.
You're going to step up
Da, 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 da. Do, 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 do. Do, do.
I work with Spider-Man. You work with Spider-Man? I work with Spider-Man, not work New plan.
Come on, man. Let's line that up again and get ready for another roll. My God, that's fantastic. All right, let me do a debrief. It seems like, well, Nick Fury introduces Quentin Beck to Peter Parker, Mysterio to Spider-Man, and says he's from the snap ripped a hole and created a multiverse. A lot to unpack. I don't doubt that that's true, that, because the snap and holes in time, that's how we're going to get the Fantastic Four and the X-Men in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But I know Quentin Beck. I've written for Quentin Beck, his voice. Quentin Beck's a liar. He's an actor. Something tells me he's not from another world. I don't think he is from some other place. I think he's horseshit. And there's no way that they're just friends. He's got to be the fucking bad guy, this bitch. But oh my God, what a cool approach. And holy shit, right at the top of the trailer, they're like, spoilers, spoilers, spoilers. Ready? Spoilers? Right at the top of the trailer, they're like, Tony Stark is fucking dead, man. Like, we haven't had that much time to sit with it and fucking live with it. Now they're putting out another movie to tell us it's official, kids. He's gone. Deal with it. Your surrogate father is fucking dead. What are you going to do with the rest of your lives, man? And that's us. I mean, there's a bit of that going on in the trailer with Spider-Man as well, and Happy. That fucking bubble helmet, man, looks phenomenal. Fishbowl, I love that we live in a world, man, where Mysterio has the fishbowl helmet. And I love that he looks like...
10 years ago, they would have thought, I can't have a fishbowl. It looks not real.
Trying to think if there's any big...
Comic heroes aren't real.
Seems to be the big sweep of changes. MJ saying you're Spider-Man. I wonder if that's a mislead or if that's just... Because, boy, they just fucking dumped that in the trailer. I'm ready for this. I like this. The guy who did this last time, I love that fucking Spider-Man Homecoming. I know I'm going to love this, and I love that they're tied in, but the idea of a multiverse, kids, means that any minute now, we might get Miles Morales. And they mentioned Miles Morales in, Spider-Man Homecoming. So he exists in that world. So you don't even need a multiverse, a hole in the universe to get to Miles Morales. Miles Morales exists. Well, I mean, Prowler does. So anyway, let's fucking dive back in. like, this is good.
Dive!
Everywhere I go, I see his face.
Oh, that's awesome. Iron Man. I want to live in a world with Iron Man murals all over the fucking walls.
I don't think Tony would have done what he did.
Cry out, Peter Parker.
You were going to be here after he was gone.
Breaks my heart. Yes, bitch. Chop, 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 chop. Whip.
You going to be the next Iron Man now?
Well, no, I don't have time. I'm too busy doing your job.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. Look, keep up the good work because
The suit?
I am going on vacation.
Looks real world. Looks like it actually exists as opposed to in Endgame kind of CG.
I don't really want to talk to him.
Why? Because if you don't talk to him, I have to talk. I don't want to talk to him. You sent Nick Fury to voicemail? I gotta go. You do not ghost Nick Fury.
Yeah, you do.
I'm here in St. Marco Polo. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm going to change my pen. This one's running out, guys.
Very difficult.
Good job, I got a few more.
Avengers 4.0.
No, that one's run out. I'll keep that one for other times.
I believe this.
This is the same pen. You can get. I got a pack of 3. No, I would need 2.
From it. He's a liar. Don't believe him, kids.
Captain Marvel, unavailable.
Thor and Captain Marvel. Off-world, not available.
Bitch, please, you've been to space. What do you want, Peter?
Oh my God! Look at
I
him.
want to go back on my trip. The girl who I really like and tell her how I feel. MJ, I am Spider-Man.
As a guy who wrote Mysterio, like this is
I mean, it's
ain't great. I just wrote for him in my Daredevil run. But
You may not be ready, but this is my responsibility.
oh, look at that shit! Fuck! I love this world.
Oh, so I put in my friends, Damien. The world needs the next Iron Man.
Look at him, man! All that fucking glorious green. Mysterio looked like he vaping. This shot's fantastic. The guy who directed Cop Car. Fuck, man. What growth?
Get back out of here. You're legit. Who are you? I work with Spider-Man. You work with Spider-Man? I work with
I
Spider-Man.
work for Spider-Man.
New plan.
July 2nd, man. There's my independence. Make mine Marvel. Fuck, this is damn good and damn exciting stuff. This is damn exciting stuff. What else? What do I give it my second viewing? What are those elemental things, man? Like, there's got to be Mysterio created, as we thought from the last trailer. But I think it's interesting that the angle that they're going to take is like to team them up, and that, you know, the world needs an Iron Man, and that Spider-Man might have to step up to be that guy. It's great storytelling, kids. It continues. Thwip. I'm thwipping, shooting webs all over the fucking place, man. This movie looks dope. Can't wait. Just when like Avengers Endgame gonna be coming out streaming, you know, we can watch it at home. We'll be able to dive into Spider-Man Far From Home. I hope they keep this schedule like 2 movies a year, maybe 3, whatever, until the day I die. And I hope I don't die for a long fucking time, so I get to see a lot more Marvel movies. But keep this up, man. Like, this, you know, some people are like, Christmas and Easter are my 2 favorite times a year. When they release these movies, that's my 2 favorite times a year.
Sounds great.
I love this shit. I'm in the bag. Check it out, man. It's online. Spider-Man Far From Home from Marvel Studios and the good folks at Sony, man. Sony, who has an Oscar for fucking Spider-Man at this point, for Into the Spider-Verse. Man, they're killing it with the help of Marvel as well. All right, there it is, folks. More when there's more. Bye.
More when there's more. Who knows when they're going to be a bit more? This is looking really dark. I'll need to put some colour in here soon. Just having a look at what the camera looks like. I might give you a zoom in just so you can see. I am going to get rid of all the construction lines, guys. Just purely, I'll rub out all the faux lines behind. You can see, well, you can see where I've shaded it. They're not the best shading.
Spoilers for Avengers Endgame, though the Russos have said that because it's now 2 weeks since the movie has been out, people can be more free to kind of, spoil some of the key elements in the movie, which I think is fair enough.
Give it 2 weekends. Not everybody can get there the first weekend, but I think if you haven't seen it yet, you should get out there and see it, because I think by Monday people are going to be talking about it.
And of course, the reason I say this is because in this latest Spider-Man Far From Home trailer, it's got a couple of massive Endgame reveals. So what we're going to be doing is going through some of the Easter eggs, the references relating to the characters, the timeline, Peter Parker's suits, what's the deal with Mysterio, the multiverse, a whole bunch of other stuff. I'm doing this a bit differently this time. I've got a list of things that I'm going to go through that I'm going to follow as the trailer progresses. A bit more kind of off the top of the dome, but there's a whole bunch of key things that I really want to touch upon. And you know what? A like and subscribe always bloody helps a video. It actually does. I kind of started doing it ironically, and it turns out that, hey, it helps in a very big way. So, you don't have to, but, come on. Okay, so straight up we see the kind of impact that Tony Stark's death has had on the world. There's a bunch of art pieces that memorialize him during this trailer, including some graffiti here. Later there's some art at Peter Parker's school. So it seems like what he did with Thanos' invasion was made public. The world knew that he was the one responsible, or largely responsible, for keeping those forces at bay. And people love him for it. Even though he was an arms dealer for many years. Killed a lot of people, probably. Well, not probably, he did. Okay, Happy Hogan gets a lot of play in this trailer, which is good. It's a nice tie back to the original Iron Man. Jon Favreau returning. Of course, he directed first Iron Man. Everybody knows this. What am I doing? He's also acting as kind of a mentor figure to Peter Parker, which is good to see. It's always great when Jon Favreau something is Happy Hogan. And as for the timeline of when this starts, John Watts, the director, has said it's pretty much straight after Endgame. He didn't give an exact date of when that is. I think maybe because of the whole timeline mess up of the last Spider-Man movie. But yeah, it's pretty much straight after Endgame. Right, so we get
They could turn that into something, though. That mistake could turn into some sort of really good mistake.
People or anybody else, and he didn't verify exactly. They might just be generic thugs. But I love it if they belong to like a lower level crime boss, like a Hammerhead or someone like that. It fleshes out the universe a bit more. And they're never going to do a Hammerhead movie, are they? So why not just, chuck that in? Afterwards, when he beats them all up in the Iron Spider suit, it's kind of cheating, isn't it? I mean, he's got spider powers, that's cheating in itself. But yeah, I tried to get a good look at the name tag on this officer. Normally when they go out of their way to give someone a name in a movie, it's a reference to like a comic book creator or somebody who worked on the movie or a minor character from the comics. I can't actually make this out. I got a really high-res version of this trailer sent over from Sony, and even then, can't say who this is. If you can make that out, that'd be great. Leave it below. We got a bit of this in the last trailer behind Peter Parker. That is Stark Tower, which became Avengers Tower, which became, well, we don't actually know yet, under renovation. There's a very real possibility that because this movie is set in 2023, that it was largely unused, but as we saw from Far From Home, they moved the Avengers headquarters, so maybe it just wasn't kept up for those 5 years. But speaking of the time jump, a lot of people have had questions relating to what's the deal with the students at Peter Parker's school? Why are people like Ned Leeds and Flash, why are they still there? Well, basically the answer is half the world's population was snapped and half weren't. So half of Peter Parker's class grew up those 5 years, so they'd be 20-ish in the current timeline in 2023, and the other half only just returned. So his new class basically consists of students who are 5 years younger than him, who are now the same age as him, and all the people who were originally snapped. Right, so here we get, he's rejecting a call from Nick Fury. It seems like a lot of the superheroes that he would normally rely on are retired or off-world or dead, which is why he's turning to Spider-Man. Though I'd imagine him just coming recently back from space and also coming back to life, he just kind of wants to get on with things. Well, that's the indication you get from the trailer. He just wants to go on a nice, friendly holiday, leaving his Iron Spider suit behind. There's another trailer where we see he only packs one of his earlier Spider-Man suits. I mean, you can't really take the Iron Spider suit, on an international flight. But yeah, interesting little Easter egg in this scene, because behind Happy Hogan here, we see a sign that has Crusher Hogan on it and win $100. This facility might actually be a wrestling arena, because you probably remember, but in the original Spider-Man movie from 2002, Spider-Man fights Crusher Hogan to test out his new abilities and for money. It's also in the original comic, so that's a nice callback to that character and also the origin of Peter Parker. Obviously, they've gone a little different here. In terms of the origin of his powers, they skipped over all of that, thank God. Maybe this is a callback, or maybe he's going to do some wrestling. I don't know. Again, it seems kind of unfair if he's wrestling in an Iron Spider costume. MJ's back. Obviously, she was also snapped. It looks like she is Mary Jane Watson, because they threw that in at the end of the last Spider-Man movie. I don't understand why they hid it and then had that reveal at the end. That was one of the elements of that story that I didn't really like. It's not really a twist to be like, oh, look, it's Mary Jane. Unless she's not called Mary Jane. She's called Michelle or something. Can't remember. But yeah, I do like this take on the character. It's not confirmed that she is actually the MJ from the comics, so that remains to be seen. Flash getting punched in the balls, good stuff. Right, this we saw in the last trailer as well. Nick Fury trank darting Ned Leeds and then approaching Spider-Man for a job. Now, what's apparently interesting about this particular Nick Fury is him and Maria Hill have been out of the game for 5 years, and basically he's playing catch up.
There's my son home.
Generally,
Yeah,
he
mate.
knows what's going on an intergalactic scale. Now coming back half a decade later, it's been thrown this curveball in terms of the weird and broken state of the universe. And of course, because Tony Stark is gone,
It looks like I've got all I've got time now for is to finish inking up here, guys, and I'll be back again tomorrow, probably in the morning.
Make him an agent and things like that.
Ish.
It's kind of shady. Right,
Maybe.
Quentin Blake. This is
Depending
really
if I've got any
interesting.
more
So
meetings
Mysterio,
tomorrow,
first
because
of
I
all,
forgot I had a
but
meeting
the
today, that's
costume
why I'm
is
running a bit late
amazing.
today.
It's garish and comic accurate. It's ridiculous. I love it. They've really pulled it off. Now it says here, and this is really interesting, that Quentin is from Earth, just not ours. They say that a snap tore a hole in our dimension. Now John Watts has also gone out and said they haven't specified which snap that is. So it could have been when Thanos snapped everybody out of existence. Could have been when the stones were destroyed. It could have been when Hulk brought everybody back. Could have been when Iron Man destroyed Thanos and his whole army. We don't know, but that's apparently going to be answered in the movie. I'd imagine to be more one of the recent ones, but yeah, we'll see. There's also a line confirming, or at least hinting at, the multiverse. Now, the multiverse was also confirmed in Avengers Endgame. I've got a video on the timeline and time travel associated with that movie that I'll link below if you want to check that out. Kind of breaks it down. It's still up in the air in terms of certain elements of how it works. The directors of Endgame say that Captain America went and lived in an alternate timeline with Peggy Carter and then jumped back when he was old, though the writers said it's only removing an Infinity Stone which causes a branching timeline. Anyway, regardless, what they're saying in this movie is the multiverse very much exists, which is something from way back in the Marvel Comics. Parallel branching realities, a lot of them very similar, a lot of them very different. Of course, people are most familiar with this from Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. And when you bring in the multiverse, you do leave the door open for characters like Miles Morales, because when that character was first introduced, he comes from another reality, the Ultimate Universe, where Peter Parker was killed and he picks up the mantle. That being said, in Spider-Man Homecoming, Donald Glover's character is the uncle of Miles Morales, so he could just very well exist in this universe regardless. Anyway, the snap tearing a hole in the dimension apparently brought Mysterio over. Now, a lot of people have been saying this, and this is my first reaction, that this is a lie. He's not from an alternate dimension. The monsters, the elementals that are attacking, he is very much responsible for that, and he's making himself out to be this hero. But at the same time, first of all, yeah, I think he's the villain. He's the villain of this movie. He's kind of acting as Peter Parker's new mentor because, you know, he needs that. But I think there's a possibility that he is creating the elementals and he is from the other dimension. Because the tech that he's got on him doesn't look like something that's stolen from the Chitauri or anything like that. And the world being 5 years on, things didn't really seem to advance that much. I mean, New York was run down. People are still playing Fortnite. It's still popular in 2023. I mean, heck, you know, probably still will be. But yeah, I think it's still a real possibility that he is from another dimension. That being said, this dude is a notorious liar and trickster and illusionist. So yeah, I would be shocked if it turns out that he wasn't the bad guy in this movie. But also 5 years on Earth after the snap, based on the technology that's come before him, is probably enough time for him to build something like this. So yeah, I think he's a liar. I'm just not sure about what the things specifically he's lying about are. They mentioned some other Avengers here that Peter Parker wants to help. Thor, he's off-world. Captain Marvel is unavailable, presumably also off-world. And there's, of course, the line that everybody loves. Bitch, please, you've been to space. Which, yeah, he has been. But yeah, whatever's going on, it seems that Nick Fury feels that Spider-Man is more than capable of taking care of it. Which is probably true, because he'll win, because it's his movie. Right, I want to talk about some suits. Again, he kicks things off in the Iron Spider. I believe he leaves that behind. It's kind of a cheat code suit. He takes the regular suit, and then S.H.I.E.L.D. give him a new one, a stealth one. I think maybe the reason they're doing this is they need him to do a stealth mission. And if he wears the bright red and blue, he's going to stick out quite a bit. And then what I think's going on here is Tony Stark has left him a new suit, the one that we see, the black and red one, with the wings. So I think this is Peter Parker kind of going through the ins and outs of it and how it works. And Happy Hogan's the one probably to introduce him to this. So yeah, the new suit in this movie, I think, is directly from Tony Stark. Something he designed in the hope that Peter Parker would return one day, or another Spider-Man would appear, and he could hand it over. But yeah, I like the inclusion of the wings. It's a nice throwback to like the original comics or early comics. Also, this jet that explodes, I think it's the same jet that he gets the suit from. I believe. I don't know a lot, but who does? Maybe you. What we've got here also is what very much looks like a pair of Tony Stark glasses. They look very similar to the ones he had in a few movies. Civil War, Infinity War. I think they might actually do something, have some kind of heads-up display going on. Again, they're probably a hand-me-down from Tony Stark, or he just takes them, who knows. Okay, there's one more thing I want to talk about, and that is the villains. It's been confirmed that Michael Keaton will not be in this movie, nor will Liz, who was his love interest from the last movie. But there's no word yet on Scorpion, who of course showed up in the last one. But what I think these movies are building towards, which I'm sure everyone is thinking, is the Sinister Six. So he's making a few villains on the way. So far we've got Vulture, Mysterio, Scorpion. There's a few other minor characters, that could very well show up, the Tinkerer and such. But yeah, that's where I think all this is absolutely going. But I throw the question to you. What else in this trailer? What did I miss? A bunch of stuff, no doubt. How do you feel about this movie? I think it looks great. It seems like they've thrown a lot more money into it than the last one. And of course, coming off Endgame, there's a chance that this is going to make $1 billion easy, because Iron Man 3 was the first movie to come out after the first Avengers, and that kind of reaped the rewards of that movie. I think it made more money than it should have, quite frankly. But yeah, apparently this is going to address the world post the unsnap of how people are affected, whether people were just brought back to life in the middle of the sky, if they were snapped in an airplane, or maybe even if people remarried, or they got a new dog, and then their old dog comes back, then they got 2 dogs. Imagine having 2 dogs, what a bloody nightmare, mate. But yeah, any thoughts you have, I'd love to know.
Never thought of that. If they got snapped in an airplane, yeah, it'd come back where they were.
I think I'm going to release it tomorrow.
Dear.
Live from up to the future. And also, I have a podcast called The Weekly Planet where we talk movies and comics and TV shows.
That'd be weird. Never really thought that.
Monday morning, got a recent one on Avengers Endgame, and again on the
I need to put some colour in, but I'm going to rub all the construction lines out now. I kind of like this construction lines being there, to be honest with you. Get rid of some of these.
Big spoilers for Avengers Endgame. You've probably seen it. Everybody has.
Spoilers.
Made $100 billion.
Haven't seen Avengers Endgame? Don't watch this video.
Absolutely not.
I mean, do watch the video and get mad.
Maybe the thumbnail spoils it anyway. I don't know.
Cool,
Who
nice.
knows? But look, there's a few people who die or disappear or age in Avengers Endgame.
Well, they all age, don't they?
Yeah,
they age the length of the movie, don't they?
That's
we also age the length of the movie.
That's not why we're here.
Oh, sorry.
Because we're going to be talking about how certain characters can return.
Yeah, okay.
In particular, Black Widow, who was murdered.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, jump to it there. Tony Stark, who...
She was murdered by circumstances, wasn't she?
Gravity. Tony Stark, who obliterated himself in Snap. Yep. Fried his own brain. And Steve Rogers got real old, which is as good as dead.
Absolutely it is.
Yeah.
But you get that early bird special, don't you?
That's very true.
Mm-hmm.
Only one of these characters we know is definitely going to return in the near future, and that is Black Widow in a solo film. It was
Yes.
there's a number of ways they can do this. We don't really want a prequel. But
I'd rather not have a prequel.
option,
That's very likely. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So do you think we're going to get an Adventures of young Black Widow, and she's running about in the Soviet Union?
We might, but I don't want that.
No,
It feels like a step backwards.
Yeah.
And it's the character that hasn't had any growth.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to see the character being sad and alone and just mercilessly killing people. I want to see modern day Black Widow, who's cool and fun.
You don't want to see a pre-Shield Black Widow maybe meet Hawkeye and then
Budapest.
Yeah, and do
Well,
those
I'd like
kind
to
of
see. I'd like to see that in flashback, but I don't
Sure.
want to see. I don't want to see that being the entire movie, and it's the lead up to that. I mean, we've seen a couple of prequels recently that were maybe not the greatest movies ever made.
Star Wars prequels.
Yeah.
We weren't that recent, though, were they?
No, that's true.
The other option is, of course, there is a time jump in Endgame. You can fill in that 5-year gap. But again, I think I don't really need to
And that's going to be a miserable. And you know what? It's not even going to be difficult for her. She's going to go to the enemy base. She's going to be like,
but everyone's crying.
Exactly. She'll be like, I'm here to steal your secrets. They'll be like, take the secrets. My secrets is a song. I'm so sad because my
dog
wife
disappeared.
Oh my god! Interesting. You went to dog and I went to wife. There.
What does that say? Yeah. There's also a possibility, of course, things progress in time and Black Widow returns in person.
Yes.
Maybe she's trapped in the Soul Stone and returning it means that you can get her back.
Yep.
I'm not sure if that's going to necessarily be the case, but also we know from Avengers Endgame you can just snatch someone
out of time. Yeah, right.
Like Gamora and just bring them into the universe.
Which I feel like they wouldn't do the same trick twice, though, because then you go.
But they can.
They can. That's absolutely true. But I think that would be a very cheap option then.
Yes.
Because then death means nothing. Because you're like, well, hey, but we just use the. Hang on, I'll be back in literally 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Boop, okay, they're alive again.
Great.
That'd be very sad.
Yeah.
So I think just for the sake of a bit of variety, I think they're going to bring it back in a different way.
Okay.
Look, I would be very up for the idea of she wakes up on Vormir and she's alive again, and there's no one around, and a super spy who's never been off the planet Earth before now has to make her way across the galaxy and get back to Earth. That's not really a spy movie.
No.
But that's a fun superhero
You don't need
movie.
to do a spy movie.
Yeah, right.
necessarily, Yeah.
Or maybe she gets back in the first act, and then the acts 2 and 3 are spy movie. And then the whole rest of the movie, she's like, "Look, this is all. I mean, there's a missile, and you're holding the world to ransom with a missile, but I was just in space. So this is all a little bit insignificant for me, if you don't mind at all.
Okay, what about this? We're going to move on to Tony Stark.
Okay.
There's kind of a hint towards in the post credits that he might return because you hear the clanging of him building the Iron Man armor. It's also a callback. It doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to come back ever.
Yeah.
But I feel that, judging from the person Robert Downey Jr. is and this universe, I feel like we're going to get, if not a full-fledged return of Tony Stark at some point, at least a cameo from Robert Downey Jr. to reprise the role. Again, you can snatch him out of time.
Yep.
But I think there's more interesting ways to do it.
Yeah.
For one, in Spider-Man Homecoming, you could leave him a recorded message.
Yep. He could be one of those drone suits that flies around.
Absolutely.
Helmet comes off, hologram Tony Stark.
What better kind of mentor than Peter Parker? Well, a lot of people. But he's changed the Spider-Man suit that the AI is a version of Tony Stark.
That could work too, yeah.
We've also talked about this in another video where...
And he's married to the lady version.
Why not?
Yeah, right?
Let him be happy in bloody cyberspace,
Yes.
mate. That's fine.
Uh-huh.
But there's also the possibility, as it has been in the comics, Tony Stark comes back as a full-fledged AI.
Yeah,
like the Iron Man suit, but he's got like a hologram head,
Yes.
or he's just a full hologram or whatever.
Yeah,
It's essentially the same character, except he's an AI, yeah.
Again, I wouldn't rule out the idea that maybe he, when destroying Thanos' army with the snap, he also made a clone of himself.
Yeah.
Put it somewhere else.
Absolutely.
And the journey is that clone getting back.
In a big cake that he can jump out of.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he suffocates in the cake.
Yeah, that's
going to bring him back again.
Good, is it? Yeah. They could also do an X-Men 3 style.
Yes.
where
I'd
you
rather they didn't, but go ahead. What do you got?
Jump into another body.
Sure, yeah. That could totally
a
work.
past version of himself.
Yeah, right.
Or, like you said, create another body. Because as we know, at the end of X-Men 3, Professor X puts his mind into his twin or something.
It's not his twin, it's just some
It is his
rando.
twin. Both actors are played by Patrick Stewart.
I don't think that's true.
Mason.
I don't think that's true.
You don't know anything about X-Men 3
I
or
know.
X-Men Dark Phoenix, the new X-Men 3.
I don't want to know anything about either of those movies, and the fact that you do is a blot upon your good name, sir.
Good name?
I said good day, sir.
Okay, that leaves us with Captain America.
Yes.
I mean, he's alive in the universe.
Yes.
But I feel like he's the least likely to reappear anytime soon.
Yeah,
And
right.
I think that's just a Chris Evans thing. Where
Look,
he's kind of had enough.
I think he went, look, I like what you're doing with this. In the final scene, when you're putting the makeup on, making me look like I've been retired for a long time and I'm never coming back.
That's right.
Like it wasn't like
Also, can you leave it on me for real life so I don't have to do any more acting?
Yes, absolutely.
in Marvel movies?
He wasn't like a man in his early 60s. He's a man who's very, very
He's
old.
110 if he's
Yeah,
a day.
exactly. Yeah. So I think that's a very clear symbol that he won't be back unless the world really needs him.
Yeah.
You know, which doesn't say he won't be back.
No, I think again, there's a less of a chance that he'll be back, but 10 years time, maybe he's interested in in reprising the role the same way that Harrison Ford got offered a lot of money and then was interested in Star Wars again.
Yeah, for sure.
It definitely happens.
Yeah, and I think maybe you said to me the other day that we could see him perhaps leading a team of Avengers in the 60s.
Yes.
Maybe not as part of a full movie.
Yeah.
Maybe just like a little flashback, maybe a scene or two, something like that.
Absolutely.
What's he been up to
What has
back
he
in
been up
time?
to? Exactly.
Dancing.
He's definitely doing some dancing.
Okay, so that's enough spoilers for you guys. I think
Like, look, it was weird. I shouldn't have done it.
Yeah.
I'm going to pause that there. Oh, another stretch. Let me know. Let me know what you think of that, guys. Let's give you a quick zoom in, show you what I've already done. I've left some of the construction lines. Let me get all these dusty bits. Going to keep most of the construction lines, so a lot of it's shading. Some of the lines you can see, you won't see anymore because of when I shade in color anyway. But yeah, I'm going to keep that shading there just for reference because I kind of need it just because of the way it looks, the way I've done it. It goes into not Iron Spider. Well, kind of both Iron Spider. Instant kill mode. It is Iron Spider, what I'm talking about. He goes, Suit Lady. Instant kill mode. Shabang. And takes out a few Shitaris. That's a Shitari there, right there, because I can't draw them. And a whole lot of shading has been done. As you can see here, I put on the arms as well. I put a little bit of extra around the arms. I'm going to be using the colors for those, for shading on them as well, because they're gold, so the shading is different for those. But hopefully you have enjoyed it. Shading is going to stay. Colors are going on. But that probably will be next time, because we've reached an hour now, guys. So, if you have enjoyed it, don't forget to hit subscribe. If you're new to the channel, definitely do that. If you're very, very new to the channel, don't forget to hit that bell so you know what I'm going to be getting up to next. But next for this is going to be colouring, because we finished the inking stage. We've done all the shading that I want to keep there and got rid of all the construction lines that I don't want to keep there. So hopefully you have enjoyed it, guys. Don't forget to tune in tomorrow. My name's been Blut084, BLUT084, Art and Games. Click the links that will appear. Otherwise, I'll see you next time. Bye for now.